Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 8th of February. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. So guys, in the today's video, we will be taking up the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper as well as also will be seeing the good articles from the Indian Express explained section. And the PDF that I will be using here, that explainer PDF you can download from the Telegram channel, and the link for the Telegram channel is given in the description box. Now, first of all, let's see the overview of the articles that we are going to take up today. So first of all, the Indian Express explained section, caste on the US campuses. So briefly we will see that what this particular controversy is all about. Then after that, what Karnataka order on student uniform says. So this was the order with respect to the recent issue where certain girls, they were refused to wear the hijab. Then the I&B Ministry's power to regulate content on TV other platforms, will be seeing this particular article. Now after that, moving to the Hindu newspaper. So in the Hindu newspaper we have this section of the text and the context. Now this particular section contains some good articles with respect to the topics which are important for our examination. Now I believe you might not be finding it into the physical copy, however we'll see here. So the first article is about the RBI's digital currency plans. So we'll see this particular article with respect to our examination. Then the below article is talking about the BrahMos deal and India's defense export. So we'll see this particular article also. After that, the theory of the Islamic State. Now guys, understand that the onto this particular page number 2, this article that comes, it comes from the archives section. Archive means that these are the old articles which have been published earlier. Now sometimes there are some conceptual articles that are there, fine, we take it. However, with respect to the Islamic State, a large number of things have changed over the past 2 years. So this is an old article, fine. So into this particular context, not very much important for our examination. Now why this article has now come? Because the chief of the IAS has been killed recently into an intervention that had happened. Oh, okay. So basically article is not important. Please don't go into that. Now coming to the Hindu newspaper. So this is the page number 1. Now guys, here we can see that first of all, a lot of political news etc has been given. Please don't go into that particular thing. Supreme Court wraps Tripura police over the action on the social media post. Now understand this particular thing, that over the past few years, what has happened, whenever a person is coming out with a dissent, the police complaints are being filed against them. They say that okay, the person who had made any statement, they are trying to promote the enmity into the society, and the police, they try to silence the dissent. So Supreme Court had actually wrapped the Tripura police that the social media post which people are using in order to criticize the violence that had happened, it is wrong. Police should not silence the criticism. So just one liner concept is there. Apart from that, there is nothing. Then further moving on, after that, India's support gives ties new energy, says Sri Lankan foreign minister. So guys, already we have seen this particular thing that few days back a 500 million grant was given to the Sri Lanka, that has been talked about. Fine. After that, moving on, after that guys, moving on into this particular direction. So city section, okay, much of the regional news, advertisements etc have been given, nothing very much important into this particular direction. Fine. After that, here you can see that the Supreme Court to hear plea on the OBC reservation soon. So basically it's OBC reservation onto the Maharashtra, already we have discussed. Okay, so you don't need to go into the everyday development, the Supreme Court will hear it. Okay, up till now nothing has happened. We will be reaching into this particular direction. Then onto the editorial page, the first editorial is talking about the dose of science in the vaccination strategy. So it is talking about the recent market authorization that has been given to the COVID and co-vaccine. Okay, it is a not full market authorization, it is a conditional market authorization, okay, which will not change anything for the people. Okay, market authorization means that the vaccine, you can procure it from the chemist if a doctor gives a prescription, and you can get it administered, but that is full market authorization. Now the partial market authorization has been given, and certain other developments onto the vaccine this article is talking about. However, as a rule of thumb, please don't go into such kind of articles, because these things will change a lot into the next few months. So whatever you will be reading today, it might change after 1 or 2 months, so it doesn't make any sense for our examination. Then notes for India on the digital trade juggernaut. So we'll see this article with respect to the WTO, what is going on here. Then the bold gamble. So the projection of the Congress's chief minister candidate, it is talking about that particular thing. Fine. Political article. Then after that, when the music stops, so guys, it is talking about the Partygate scandal of the UK. Now see, what is this Partygate scandal? When the COVID-19 was going on, there was the curbs that were imposed on the public gatherings, but at that same time, okay, into many of the UK's public buildings, particularly into the number 10, what happened, there were the parties going on. So this is the Partygate scandal, not very much important for the examination. Then after that, majoritarianism is wearing the wheel of debate. Okay, a self-reliant pharma industry, we'll see what this issue is, what this article is talking about. Then keeping the flock together, fine. In fighting in the small parties, LDF basically issue. So this is a political article, not important for our UPSC. Then further moving on, universalize maternity benefit, says activist. So this is a very good article with respect to the critical evaluation of the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. We'll see this particular article. Okay. Then after that, further moving on, assembly polls, nothing is there into this particular entire page, leave it. Then guys, the COVID-19 number of cases, etc. have been talked about. Now here we can see that 1/3 of the 10,900 crore rupees into the PM Cares fund has been spent. Just an audit has been given. Okay, now see, when we talk about the PM Cares, fine, basically in 2020 there was a controversy around the PM Cares fund. The controversy was because of this particular fact that the government said that you cannot ask us the information with respect to the PM Cares fund under the right to information, RTI. Why? Because under the RTI you can ask the information only about the public authorities, and government provided that the PM Cares is not a public authority, you cannot ask. But still the money has been provided, that tell, and this much money has been collected. Okay, now not important. Okay, where, how much money used, not important. Then after that, Macron meet Putin over the Ukraine row. So this over the Ukraine, a proxy war is going on between the West and the Russia. Okay, so this is just into that particular direction. Then on to the business page, the corporate trends, etc. has been given. Okay, and then we'll reach to the sports page. So guys, this is all about the overview of the articles, and now let's discuss all these articles one by one in the detail. Okay, and one more thing, I say this in many of the classes, guys, please learn the skill to understand which type of articles are important for your examination. That skill, I believe, is even more important than just the consumption of the content. Okay, now for taking up, so we'll start, and as we do in our every class, we start with the GS quote which you can use in one of your papers. So today we'll be taking the quote from the Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy says that the wrong does not cease to be wrong because the majority shares in it. Clear? So the wrong does not cease to be wrong, just the majority shares in it. Okay, and at the same time, I will add one more line into this. At the same time, right does not seems to be wrong because the majority don't believes in it. So basically, the right is right even if the society appreciates it or even if the society disapproves it. Okay, so right is fundamental in its own existence. Okay, as the Gandhiji said that truth is God. Into the same way, the right is right, wrong is wrong, irrespective of the fact that what the society believes onto that particular thing. You can use this particular quote in your GS paper number 4 ethics. GS paper number 4 ethics. Now moving on. So guys, first of all, let's see the MCQ answers. Okay, so every class now we have started the MCQs, and this is very good that you guys are participating into the MCQ and you are answering. That is very good. Keep it up. Okay, I see every one of your answers who post there. Guys, these MCQs, they are asked from the previous days newspaper. Okay, so the yesterday's MCQ, question number 1, the right answer is A, and the question number 2, the right answer is D. In the PDF, this was also shared, you can see it. Why A and why D? You can pause the video and you can see the explanation. Then taking the MCQs for the today. So today, the first MCQ that we are taking, it is from the delimitation. Okay, so the delimitation commission had submitted its report for the Jammu and Kashmir, so therefore the delimitation commission becomes important. So 3 statements have been given. Fine, please read these statement. You can pause the video for few seconds. Please read the statement and consider the above correct statement. Please write your answers into the comment box. Please make it as a habit to answer it every day so that you are revising the things also. Then the second MCQ. Okay, so this MCQ is with respect to the artificial neural network and the science and technology. This particular question could be important. So two statements have been given, and read the statements and answer the statement. Now one more thing, that see, science and technology, many a number of times you might not be knowing that entire statement to be true or not, and into the science and technology the intelligent guessing is something that you need to learn. So through the intelligent guessing that okay, this thing will be done or not done, that is the way in which the questions are answered actually into the prelims examination in most of the cases. So that is also important. Now moving to the first article. Okay, so first article, what we have done, we have taken from the Hindu newspaper. It is talking about the RBI's digital currency plans. Now, this article will be important in GS paper number 3, issues related to the Indian economy. Issues related to the Indian economy. Very important article from 2021. This thing has been actually very important. Now, guys, first of all, I will tell you the context or the background that has been there. So, the background goes like this. See, around the world, there are large number of the private virtual currencies that had emerged. For example, the cryptocurrency. Now the cryptocurrency, we call it as a private virtual currency. Private currency because the government had not backed it, central bank had not backed it, any of the central banks have not backed it, so they are called as the private virtual currencies. They are also called as the cryptocurrencies. So into this particular response, what had happened, the Reserve Bank of India in 2021 in one of a white paper floated the idea that we will also be coming with a digital currency which will actually be backed by the government. So now in the budget which has been released just on few days back, the finance minister has finally provided that in this particular year the Reserve Bank of India will might be probably be coming out with this digital currency. Now what is this digital currency? Let's understand this thing. So basically it is called as the central bank digital currency, CBDC. Now this CBDC will help in giving a boost to the digital economy. Now guys, in the most simple words, this CBDC, it will not be a cryptocurrency, it will just be a digital format of the money that you can hold. Right now what is there? Right now you have a physical cash, and this physical cash you keep in your physical wallet. Now this digital currency, it will be just a digital currency which you can keep in a digital wallet. Who will maintain this digital wallet? The Reserve Bank of India will maintain this digital wallet. So just understand this particular thing, that you have your Paytm account. In the Paytm account there is some money that you have added, but that actually when you are transferring it, it is not a real money. Okay, now the digital currency that will come, it will in fact a real currency which will be received by a person in its digital wallet, but this wallet will now be maintained by the Reserve Bank of India. Is it clear? This is something. Now guys, Reserve Bank of India might delegate some of the power to some of the banks also, but in this direction the clarity has not come up till now. As at when it will be coming, that what is the exact function, we'll see this particular thing. Now guys, this digital rupee that is coming, or this digital currency that is coming, it will not directly replace the demand deposit that is held into the bank. Let's say you deposited the money in the form of cash into the bank, your money will not be replaced. Still you have an option that you can withdraw the money into the cash only. Is it clear? The bank also will maintain the physical cash as they used to have it. Okay, so there will be no impact onto the digital cash which is already there into the banks and which the people are holding. The people will have an option that if they want, they can convert their physical currency into the digital currency and can keep it into the digital wallet maintained by the Reserve Bank of India. Now guys, basically around the world, I told you that these private currencies or the cryptocurrencies, into this a lot of interest has been generated. Why the interest has generated into these cryptocurrencies? Understand this particular thing, that what has happened around the world, the governments, USA, India, every government, what they are doing, they are actually printing a lot of currency. They are printing a lot of currency. Now when they print a lot of currency, the people who are holding the money, their money gets debased. The debasement of money happens. Let's say that you were holding 100 rupees 10 years back. Now you know this particular thing, that these 100 rupees which you were holding 10 years back, today they don't have the same potential. 10 years back, in this 100 rupees you might be able to afford, let's say a kind of any particular big purchase. Today you cannot afford that big purchase from this 100 rupees. Why? Because lot of excessive money generation had happened around the world. Inflation has increased and the real value of the money, it had got debased. So people, what they are doing, their money they are keeping into the virtual cryptocurrencies. Now the cryptocurrencies, they can be generated into a limited capacity. For example, the Bitcoin, only 21 million Bitcoins can be generated. More than that is not possible. So always, as the supply will be limited, the money's value will not go down, and people are hopeful that if they keep their money into the cryptocurrencies, which will only be only into the limited numbers, over the period of time the value of their money will not go down. So people are keeping their money into the cryptocurrencies. So by this particular thing, now the Reserve Bank of India believes that if we will come out with a kind of a digital currency, people might shift from cryptocurrency to that digital currency. But I don't find any reason why that will happen, because cryptocurrency's value appreciates. Is it clear? If you put money today in cryptocurrency, its value will appreciate later if more and more people will buy the cryptocurrency. But rupee, it is just a kind of a static thing. Whatever the value of your physical rupee is, the same value will be of the digital rupee. So I don't find that why the people will shift from cryptocurrency to the digital currency. However, the bank believes it. Okay, so let's take it. Then after that, guys, it has been provided that basically there is one more benefit that will come. See, the cost of issuing the digital currency is actually far more lower than the cost of printing. See, the physical cash, it has a lot of cost. See, the notes, the physical notes that are there, paper notes that are there, they get destroyed after a few years. They are to be replaced. The printing cost is there, movement cost is there, logistical cost is there. When a person is coming into the ATM, he is putting the money there. So a lot of physical cost is there. In digital currency, that particular cost will be reduced virtually to zero. So this will be an additional benefit that will be coming. Fine. Now, there are certain concerns that had come with respect to this digital currency. Number one, what is the concern? See, that digital currency, people will lose their anonymity with respect to the money. Today, the people, they keep money stored into their homes, and nobody knows what amount of money that they are holding. If you convert your money into the digital currency, the bank will know exactly the amount of money that you are holding. So anonymity will be lost. People's privacy will be lost. So people might not opt for this digital currency. This is the one limitation that is there. After that, the second limitation that has been there, guys, is that, see, though the Bahamas, okay, so keep it in your mind, which country became the first country which has launched their first central bank digital currency? Bahamas had actually launched the first CBDC. But at the same time, another countries which were saying that we will come out with a digital currency, such as the Finland and Denmark, they have taken a step back. They say that will not release it. Why? Because of the problems. Now what are the problems? See, this problem is very big problem. Now when the people will find that, okay, let's say I have 1 lakh rupees, my hard earned money, why I keep this money into the bank account? There are two reasons. Reason number one is that I will get an interest, and the second reason is that my money will be safe there. Now guys, the people who just were keeping the money to keep the money safe, now they can just switch to the digital currency, and in digital currency automatically their money will be safe. So people might not deposit the money into the bank. This is one problem. Second problem is that you see right now in many of the countries, the interest rate, they have virtually gone near to the 0%, or many countries, developed countries particularly, the interest rates are going into the negative. Even if you see in India, the real interest rate into the saving accounts, it have went very much down. So the interest is not a very big incentive to keep the money into the bank. So therefore the people will withdraw all the money from the bank and will just store it into the digital form into the wallet. So this is one very big problem that has come. And guys, into this particular context, it is being believed that initially what the Reserve Bank of India will do, it might cap the money that you can keep into the digital currency. However, again, nothing has come very clearly into this particular direction. Then guys, there will also be an impact onto the there will also be an impact onto the loans that can be created by the bank. Now understand, this point is little bit technical. I'll not say hard. Understand this particular point. See what happens what happens, there is Mr. A. Now Mr. A, let's say, have 1000 rupees. Mr. A will go to the bank and will deposit this 1000 rupees, let's say, into the bank. Now guys, what will happen, the bank will keep a part of this 1000 rupees. Fine, there is a cash reserve ratio that a bank has to maintain. Let's say that the cash reserve ratio is of 10%. So what will bank do, bank will keep this 10% money out of this, let's say 1000 rupees. 10% means 100 rupees. So 100 rupees bank will keep in a reserve, but the remaining 900 rupees the bank will give as a loan. Bank will give as a loan. Let's say Mr. B came, and Mr. B said that okay, I want these 900 rupees as loan. Now what bank will do, bank will not give this 900 rupees as a cash to Mr. B. Rather, the bank will say that okay, you have to open a bank account with us, and into that particular bank account we will put this 900 rupees. Now guys, obviously the bank account will be maintained. Now all the people will not be withdrawing the entire money at that point of time. So what we'll do, even into this 900 rupees that has been there, the bank will keep aside 90 rupees of cash, and the remaining 810 rupees it will still offer to the loan. So this is called as the cash creation. Is it clear? Into this particular way, the banks actually are giving far more loan than the actual cash they were having. They are giving far more loan than the actual cash they are having. Is it clear or not? So into this particular way, what happens, the banks offer a large amount of loan. Now actually, if the physical cash will be replaced and digital currency will come, and people will keep money directly into the digital form, into their digital wallet, the bank's ability to create more money and to offer that money as a loan, it will get impacted, and into this particular manner the banks will face a problem. So all these are the issues, and these issues the Finland and Denmark have found very problematic, and the Finland and Denmark, they had cancelled the plan for this digital currency. Is it clear? So this is guys the entire issue in this particular direction. Please download this PDF from our Telegram channel and add these points directly in your notes. It will help you. So that is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Caste on US campuses. Okay, will not go too much into the detail into this particular article. Is it clear? But guys, this article will be important for particular points. Why it will be important? See, in GS paper number 1, we have the social issues. Is it clear? In the social issues, there is the issue of caste that is there. Now when we talk about the caste dynamics in India, the caste is a very big part of the identity, and in order to remove the caste discrimination, many of the steps have been taken. Even into the fundamental rights, the right to equality has been promised. To remove the untouchability, article number 17 talks about the abolition of untouchability. So in India, the caste was actually a very significant phenomena, but the caste as a phenomena has reached the overseas also, and into the USA also the caste discrimination is being duly noted. Now what has happened, first of all, let's see this particular thing. So first of all, the California's state university, which is actually the largest university into the USA, they had provided that the caste is a protected category against the discrimination. So there are large number of grounds of discrimination that is there, which are actually protected into the USA. You cannot do discrimination on the nationality, you cannot do discrimination on the basis of color, etc. Now the discrimination on the caste, it can also not be taken, and it has been added as a protected category in the discrimination. Now guys, this is not the first time, that the caste as a discrimination ground has been added. In other universities also, such as the Colby College, okay, Brandeis University, the Harvard University, they are there. But this California State University, it is the biggest university into the USA, having more than 23 campuses, 5 lakh students, 29,000 teachers. So this is something which has happened. Why this particular thing comes? Because in the USA, it is being observed that the caste discrimination is going on. Recently, a case was filed against a Cisco. So you might have heard the name of a Cisco, that 2 of its employees, they have discriminated against a Dalit engineer into the USA. So to avoid this particular thing, the caste as a category is being added there. Now guys, some of the right-wing groups, they have said that this is a wrong thing. According to them, they have said that this particular thing is just based on a an assumption. There have not been a detailed study for this particular step. Many of the Hindu right wing groups, they provide that in USA they have assumed that the caste is just a strict Hindu social and religious hierarchy. According to them, they say that it is inaccurate definition of the caste. According to them, the caste is not a kind of such pervasive or a universal phenomena. They said that by this particular thing there will be unnecessary targeting of some Indian origin workers. Is it clear? Any worker, he can be targeted. You can just say that okay, we are removing from the job. Why? Because you have discriminated onto the caste. So some of the people unnecessarily they will be targeted, and it has been said that it will further increase the stereotypes against the Indians, Hindus and the caste. Is it clear? Still a large of wrong understanding is there. It will further fuel such stereotypes. So this is that they have said that it is wrong. It will lead to the targeting of Indians and the Hindus particularly. Now the Americans, okay, they have provided that the American society recognizes the other grounds also. It is not that the Hindus are being targeted. Anti-Semitism is being recognized, Islamophobia is being recognized, and many of the other historic and structural wrongs that have been there, they have been accounted for, and therefore the caste, which is actually a historical wrong, should be accounted. So therefore this is the justification that has been given by the USA here. So guys, just what we need to understand, we need to understand that there comes the topic of the caste dynamics. There comes the topic of the caste dynamics, how the caste is changing. Will the caste be becoming irrelevant into the times to come? So there is no one answer, but the caste dynamics is going into this particular thing, that caste has now reached the overseas also, and in overseas the caste is leaving its imprint. For example, in the Cisco, where the recent discrimination was carried. Okay, so this is one development. Please keep it in your mind. In the caste related questions, there might be a kind of a need. Please use these kind of dimensions. It will enrich your answer. Now we'll move to the next article. Okay, this article again taken from the Indian Express. Information and Broadcasting Ministry's power to regulate the content onto the TVs and other platforms. Now understand first of all what has happened. Very easy concept. See, basically recently the Information and Broadcasting Ministry, it has just issued a it has just cancelled, or it has informed the Malayalam news channel that their broadcasting license has been cancelled. Why? Because they did not got the security clearance from the Home Ministry, so their broadcasting license has been cancelled. Now this particular thing, that is the cancelling of the license of a news channel, is just being seen as an attempt to muzzle the freedom of speech and expression. And for this particular thing, news channel reached the Kerala High Court, and the Kerala High Court had put a stay on this particular development. The Kerala High Court had put a stay on this particular development and had allowed the news channel that they can continue. Is it clear? So this is the context that was there, and under this particular context this issue becomes important. This issue we will see under the light of GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, freedom of speech and expression, fundamental rights. Freedom of speech and expression, fundamental right. Now let's understand guys that what is the scenario, how the Information and Broadcasting Ministry can control the content. So guys, when we talk about the mandate of the Information and Broadcasting Ministry, they have the power to regulate the sectors such as the TV, they can regulate newspapers, magazines, movie in the theaters, fine, radio they can regulate, but on the internet they did not have the power to regulate. But now with the coming of the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rule 2021, or IT Rules 2021, so we have seen many number of times these IT rules 2021. So when they had come, now on the internet also the Information and Broadcasting Ministry has given a power. Now through these IT rules, what had happened? Through these IT rules, a 3-tier structure has been created. Now let's say that there is a TV channel, it is airing any program. If the viewers have any problem, number one, what they can do, they can approach to that particular TV channel that we have a problem with this particular program, you remove it. If grievance is not settled there. Then at the second level, what is there? There is a self-regulatory body of the industries. All the TV channels are there, so they have created a self-regulatory body. So there is a self-regulatory body there, and a petition can be made. But if this self-regulatory body is also not doing anything, then there is the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Onto the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, a request can be made. So three level structure has been created by these IT rules 2021, that is there. After that, guys, at the highest level, there is also an interministerial committee which can be approached if still some hateful content etc is being shown. Now, guys, this particular thing is a double-edged sword. It is a double-edged sword. How it is a double-edged sword? See, you see in many of the news, many a times they are just outrightly doing the hate debates. Okay, religious fundamentalism they are spreading, polarization they are spreading, then nothing happens there. But at the same time, if there is some constructive criticism, if there is a dissent, then these kind of news channels, they are just being targeted. So what happens? There are ill motivated complaints deliberately that are being made. So this is one of a problem that has come. Okay, but however, this is the system that we need to see. Now, guys, in the print media, the newspapers, the physical newspaper that is there is the recommendation of Press Council of India that will prevail. So if Press Council of India gives the direction or gives the advice to the Information and Broadcasting Ministry that this particular newspaper is spreading the wrong information, then it can also be suspended. Is it clear? So Ministry of I&B, it has a lot of power in this particular regard. You need to understand this particular thing. Now, the next thing comes that what are the grounds? What are the grounds on which the print media and the electronic media, they can be suspended? So they can be suspended onto the ground if they are not following if they are not following the article number 19 subclause 1 in a responsible manner. So guys, article number 19 subclause 1, first of all, it talks about the protection of freedom of speech and expression. That is good thing. But at the same time, article number 19 also contains the reasonable restriction. What is the reasonable restriction? Reasonable restriction is that, see, you cannot just spread the information which is against the security of the state, friendly relationships with the foreign states, the information which is against the public order, decency, morality. If such kind of information is there which is infringing onto these grounds, that information will be curbed. And on these grounds, these information or these news channels are being dated. But guys, understand this particular thing. These grounds are actually very vague. They are very wide. Clear? Virtually anything can be covered that, okay, this particular information was going against public order. We don't want to allow it. So what comes here? What comes here? Understand this particular thing. Here comes the political ethics. Here comes the democratic ethics. Is it clear? Now, guys, basically, I had used one of a quote few days back that ethics is not about what you have right to do. Ethics is about what is right to be done. Government has a right. They can curb any information. They have a right, but at the same time, is it right? That is something that they need to learn. So here comes the role of ethics. Is it clear? So which is something that we need very dearly into the present times. So guys, this is all about this particular aspect. Now guys, see, such kind of specific informations that, for example, we have taken here. These specific information, see, outrightly a question will not be there that how the I&B regulates the content on TV. No. But the question in somewhere where basically the dissent and the curb onto the speech and expression where it is being asked, you can use such kind of information and it will authenticate your content, will make your content little bit different from the other content that is there. So that is all about this article. Now we'll move to the next article. Okay. Now move the article, what it talks, the article is about the BrahMos deal and the India's defense export. Clear? This particular article, guys, we will be using in GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, fine. National security, IR, how we'll see this thing, as well as in GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, indigenization of defense and technology. Indigenization of defense and technology, there also we will use this particular article. Indigenization of defense and technology, will be using it. Okay, so what this particular article is, first of all, guys, I'll tell you some of a background, and then we'll see that why this article is important. So background, first of all, background. Okay, now guys, understand this particular thing. that the military diplomacy or the hard diplomacy is one of a very significant component of country's foreign policy. Is it clear? India has always been called as a soft power. Fine, we have not soft power. India has a particular kind of a soft diplomacy. Clear? Or we can say that the cultural power of the India has been very much high. But now what has happened? India is reflexing itself, and now in 2020, what happened? We came out with the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. In 2020, we came out with the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, where we said that India will increase its self-sufficiency. Number one. Number two, India will also become a kind of a economy which will position itself strategically into the world. And when the strategic positioning is there, India will develop the sufficiency in the military hardware, into the weaponaries and all such kind of thing. Clearly, that is one particular thing. Now guys, into this particular direction, we need to expand our capabilities to export the arsenal, to export the weaponry. In this direction, what has happened recently India had signed a deal with the Philippines, and as a part of this particular deal, the BrahMos missile will be provided to the Philippines. Is it clear? This is something what has happened. Number one, this is one of the biggest deal that India has signed with a foreign country. So this is the first significance. The second significance is that it will add impetus to boost our defense exports. Actually, the government had taken a target that our defense export target is around $25 billion that we need to achieve. Okay, $25 billion of defense export target we have taken. Now such kind of deals will actually help us to reach our defense export target. Now guys, first of all, let's talk about this BrahMos missile, and then further we will be discussing this thing little bit more. So when we talk about BrahMos, it is a joint venture between the India and Russia. From Indian side, there is the DRDO, that is a Defense Research and Development Organization. From the side of Russia, there is the NPO and Mashino it is Mashino Stroyania. Okay, so NPO, NPOM, and the DRDO, they have jointly developed this BrahMos missile. Now, when we talk about BrahMos missile, it has developed, many of the variants have been developed. There is the variant which can be launched from the land, then it can be launched from sea, it can be launched from subsea, air, etc. Is it clear? Now, guys, when we talk about the BrahMos missile, initially the BrahMos missile, its range was capped at 290 kilometer. Why? Because India was not the member, because there was a certain obligation that was imposed by the MTCR, that is the Missile Technology Control Regime. India was initially not the member of the MTCR, so therefore we have to develop our missiles up to 290 kilometer only. But guys, what happened? In 2016, India became the member of the MTCR, and since then we are expanding the range of the BrahMos missile. Now it has been extended to 450 kilometer, and subsequently the range will be extended to 600 kilometer. Now this 450 kilometer already it has been extended, and this particular thing has also been test fired also. Many a times we have seen in our newspaper as well. So this is going on. Now guys, when we talk about this particular deal, this deal will help, I told you, in reaching the India's export potential, number one. Secondly guys, it will also be expanding the defense capabilities of India. It will help in reaching the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Now guys, when we talk about many of the steps have been taken by the government in order to export in order to increase the weapon export. What we have done, we have come out with the simplified defense industrial licensing regime, where the private players, they are provided a simplified procedure. Then there is a relaxation of export controls. Was it clear? Fine. After that, there is the easy grant of no objection certificate. Then India is also providing the line of credit to the foreign countries, so that the money that we are giving, they can use this particular money in buying the weapons from the India. So line of credit is being provided. And after that, India is also finalizing the defense production export policy 2020. Now this will be finalized soon, and once it will come, we will see this also. So this defense production and export promotion policy 2020 will come out with a liberalized regime in order to in order to go for the defense export. So this is something that is going on. Is it clear, guys? In 2020 there was a case study also that was asked into the GS paper number 4 with respect to the defense export. So guys, case studies actually are also inspired from the real life events that are there. So this is the significance of this particular article. And guys, when we talk about BrahMos, we have one more information. Already deployed the BrahMos along the LAC line of actual control into the Arunachal Pradesh against the China. So this is about all these particular thing. That is about the article. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Notes for India as the digital trade juggernaut rolls on. Okay, now this article will be important in GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3. In GS paper number 2, fine, the policies of WTO, okay, regional groupings or the multilateral groupings, there we will be using it. And in GS paper number 3, onto the trade front, there will be certain implications. So in the economy, this article will be important. Now let's understand that what this particular article is all about. Now first of all, there are certain basics that we will discuss. Now guys, this basics is like this. Number one, you might be knowing that there is a World Trade Organization. Now World Trade Organization aims to reduce the tariff and non-tariff barriers to trade. Tariff and non-tariff barriers to trade. Tariff barriers is this, that some country having a very high custom duty, that is a tariff barrier. Import will not be able to come freely there. Then the non-tariff barrier are there. Non-tariff barrier are there. Some technical conditions you impose. Some other sanitary and phytosanitary measures you impose onto the goods. For example, guys, what happened? Few years back, the UK, they said that we will not import the Indian Alfonso mangoes. Why? Because they said that there is a fruit fly that has been found in one of the box. So the country said that we will not import because they are unhygienic products. So the technical barriers could be there are the non-tariff barrier, which is something like imposing a kind of a obligation, okay, in terms of technicality, in terms of on health front, okay. And then the tariff barriers are there, just you increase the custom duty. Now the WTO says that unnecessary tariff and non-tariff barriers are to be reduced. Unnecessary are to be reduced. Fine, this is the WTO. Now guys, the WTO, it has the highest level of decision, it has the highest level of decision making into the ministerial conference. Now ministerial conference is the decision making body of the WTO. It has all 164 members in it, and every 2 years this ministerial conference is held. Every 2 years this ministerial conference is held. The first ministerial conference was held in Singapore into the 1996. Now guys, now the ministerial conference 12th was to be held. Ministerial conference 12th was to be held. Originally it was to be held in 2020, but because of the COVID-19 it got cancelled. Then it was to be held in 2021, but because again of the COVID-19 in 2021 also it got cancelled. So ministerial conference, highest decision making of WTO, is not able to work. Now guys, within the WTO there is one more initiative that is there, that is the JSI. Within the WTO, there is one more thing that is there, that is the JSI, Joint Statement Initiative. Now, what is this Joint Statement Initiative? See, let's say in WTO, let's say there are 164 members. Now out of these few members, okay, 70, 80, 50, 60, any members, they will come and they will start negotiation on any one topic. For example, when we talk about trade, within the trade, there is the digital trade that is there. There is the e-commerce that is there. There is the fishery trade that is there. So many of the dimensions of trade are there. So within the WTO, another one group, that is the joint statement, one group will be formed and they will issue a joint statement initiative that, okay, let's talk on to this, let's discuss this particular thing. Now guys, when we are talking about the WTO, there is a new JSI, okay, there is a JSI that has been developed, and this JSI is onto the e-commerce. JSI is onto the e-commerce. Now this particular grouping, it is talking about the e-commerce. It needs to be more liberalized. Now guys, the three countries, Australia, Japan and Singapore, they are the co-facilitators of this JSI onto the e-commerce. Now guys, all the members that are there into this JSI, these three are the co-facilitators. Apart from that also, there are so many of the members that are there into the JSI. So these JSI members, they today account for more than 90% of the global trade. Clear? They account for it. over half of the WTO members are actually the members in the JSI also, and they actually wants to liberalize these e-commerce rules. Now, always in the WTO, guys, actually the world countries are divided in two groupings. One is the developed and other is the developing. Now when we talk about the developing country, the two countries are very important here. The South Africa, two countries are very important into this developing camp, that is the South Africa as well as India. South Africa and India. Okay, and into the developed country, all the US and European countries, they are there. Now the developing countries such as the South Africa and India, always they say that the developed country, they are very selfish. Just for their self interest, they impose the conditionalities onto the developing world, and we don't like it. Now into the JSI, the e-commerce is being discussed. So onto the e-commerce also, the developing countries such as India and South Africa, they have certain problems. We'll see what problems are there into this JSI. Now, so now what has been happened? The India and South Africa, they have led the resistance against this JSIs. Okay. Now what has been there? Understand this particular thing. Now, second ministerial conference that happened in 1992. The story starts from here. Second ministerial conference, it happened in 1998. Sorry, it happened in 1998. Here, for the first time, e-commerce regulation was discussed. Okay, first time e-commerce regulation was discussed. At that point of a time, a moratorium was imposed onto the custom duties related to the electronic transmission of goods and services. Okay, let's say Google, through electronically, it is sending a software into the India. So this is a electronic transmission of a service that has happened. On this particular thing, will there be a custom duty? No, this custom duty will not be there. However, if a physical good would have come, there would have been a custom duty. So since 1998, there is a ban that whenever there will be the electronic transmission of goods and services, on them there will be the ban. You will not impose the custom duty. Clear? Now guys, the India and South Africa, they have a problem with this particular moratorium. Why? Because you know we are a developing country, and the developed world, through the e-commerce, they are sending a lot of services to the India, and if India would have imposed the custom duties onto that, we would have earned a lot of money. But now that particular money we are deprived of. Why? Because there is a moratorium that is imposed against the custom duties. Is it clear? So India and South Africa want that this particular thing is to be revised. According to them, they say that the JSI, it contravenes onto the WTO's consensus-based framework. Clear? We don't want this particular thing. So this thing should be rectified. This is a problem that is there. Now guys, when we talk about the developed and developing country, many of the problems are there on which they are actually differentiating. Not only this, there are other things also. Now guys, you know this particular thing that since 2018, India is becoming very much vocal for the data localization. What is this data localization? Let's understand it into the very simple words. See, there are many of the foreign companies. For example, the MasterCard is there, American Express is there, many card companies are there, payment gateways. Now MasterCard, okay, Visa, they are not Indian company. You are using your card for doing a lot of your transaction. They are capturing a lot of your data, your card information, your sensitive information. Now where this particular information is stored? This information is stored into the servers which are located outside the India. So India came out in 2018 and said that data localization is to be carried. Whatever information you are collecting from the Indians, particularly the sensitive and financial information, that information is to be stored within India only. Within India only. Now this data localization norms actually is a kind of a contention ground between the developed country and the developing country. Developed countries such as the USA, their corporates are asking their government that just ask India to remove this data localization. Why? Because it will increase their compliance cost. New servers have to be installed here. So this is something which is one problem between the developing and the developed country. They don't want to go for this data localization. Moreover guys, even now one of our joint parliamentary committee had provided that the data localization is to be carried. Moreover guys, now with the coming of new IT rules that are there, on to the privacy also we are working very rigorously. So there might be some obligations, that new obligations actually will be coming onto the software companies. Okay, so this is something which might be there. After that, guys, it has been said that there is the surveillance reform, find personal data protection, algorithmic governance, non-personal data regulations that we are talking, and more conditionalities will be imposed. Okay, now guys, there was one reference, very good reference that has been given, reference of digital economy partnership agreement between the Singapore, Chile, New Zealand. Now into this DEPA agreement, it has been provided that the rule based order needs to be there, and learning from this we can ask that into the WTO also there needs to be a rule based order, free flow of information needs to be there, and such principles are to be respected in all the WTO negotiations, even into this JSI negotiation onto the e-commerce that is happening. The developing countries concerns needed to be kept into the mind. So this is something that has been provided into this particular article. So guys, I hope that you understood it. Is it clear? Now moving on. Okay, there is one doubt. Okay, which is the best channel to cover PIB in English language daily along with your newspaper analysis, sir? My humble request is you can please add to it. Okay, just one thing. Okay, you can add to it because I didn't saw any explainer yet. Guys, one thing I wanted to tell you here is that, okay, see, a good aspirant will always consolidate the study and the sources. Fine. The UPSC community, there is a very big problem in a UPSC community. There is the FOMO syndrome that is there. FOMO syndrome. What is this FOMO syndrome? FOMO syndrome is the fear of missing out syndrome. What happened in this fear of missing out syndrome? We either will be following 15 newspapers or we will not be following any one. When we are following even the 15 now following 15 newspapers or all the sources is never possible. You need to understand that this UPSC examination is not examination where it is being seen that how many facts you can remember. It is an examination where your understanding is to be tested. For that particular thing, always make sure that you are consolidating your information rather than spreading your information in such a dimension which is never will be possible. Why? There is a problem in this fear of missing out. What happens? This FOMO, it creates insecurities. It creates insecurities. Fine. Even you are doing a lot with respect to your preparation, but you will always be having a lack of confidence that I am not knowing much. And this insecurity is what will happen. It will lead to a psychological barrier in your mind. It will lead to a psychological barrier in your mind, and this psychological barrier might be impacting your performance when the real exam will come. So guys, please don't just be focused that okay, 10 or 5 sources I have to cover. Focus whether you are able to build the understanding or not. I will just emphasize work onto the interlinkages of the topics, putting the substance. Even the UPSC says that the length of the answer will not matter. It will matter that what a substance you have added in your answer. Is it clear? So guys, see, there is a lot of misguidance that is there. I will just ask that please don't get carried away for that particular thing. And even I am telling one thing very categorically, even if you feel that you have developed an understanding by which you can identify all the dimensions by your own in the newspaper, immediately on that day please stop watching this video also. Clear? I'm very categorically I'm saying, I'm not saying that no, you should watch it. No, the day you find that okay, I am able to develop the understanding, I can identify myself, I know all the dimensions. Is it clear? Fine. That is the thing. So have the faith, work only onto the consolidation and not onto the spreading, because it will not be helping. This is a mistake that we do. Just a thing. Okay. Now moving on. A self-reliant pharma industry. Now this article will be important in our GS paper number 3, issues related to the Indian economy. Now let's understand that what this particular article is, but before that, background. Before that, we'll see the background. So guys, the background goes like this, that when we talk about India is the pharmacy to the world. India is the pharmacy to the world. Why? Because India has a particular capability in developing a lot of generic medicines. When we talk about the medicine, there are two types of medicine that are there. One are the patented medicine and the other are the generic medicine. Now, what is this patented medicine? Guys, suppose that there is a particular person, he had invented a medicine for a disease. okay, medicine for a disease. Let's say he had developed a medicine for the AIDS. He had developed the medicine for the AIDS. Up till now, for the AIDS, medicine was not there. Now this particular person had actually had spent too much of effort in inventing this particular medicine. So what can this particular person do? This person will patent this particular medicine, and for next 20-25 years only this person will be able to make this particular medicine. However, after 20-25 years, this particular patent, it will get expire, and then this particular medicine can be manufactured by another pharmaceutical companies also, and then the medicine that will be manufactured, that medicine will be called as the generic medicine. Now this is a very very basic understanding on this particular thing. There are some other technicalities also. Deliberately I'm not going in that. Deliberately I'm not going into that. So when we talk about India, India manufactures large number of generic medicines, not only for India but for the entire world, and for that particular thing India is called as the pharmacy to the world. Now guys, when we talk about the medicine, one more concept I want to tell, because it will be coming later words. There are the APIs in the medicine. There are the APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredient. Now what is this API or the active pharmaceutical ingredient? See, in any of the medicine, the bulk of that particular medicine is formed by some of a chemical component. Okay, let's say any medicine you are having. Let's say this is a one tablet. So into this one particular tablet, there is one particular chemical compound that will be there, which will make the bulk of this particular medicine. Okay, we call such common chemicals are there, which we, or salts, I'll use the word salts are there, which we call as the APIs. Is it clear? So we need to have the API. This is the foundation of making any kind of medicine. Now let's come to the article. So guys, when we talk about the pharmaceutical sector, we need to promote it, and for that the production linked incentive scheme has been announced. What is this production linked incentive scheme? Production linked incentive schemes actually wants to enhance the manufacturing sector of India. For different sectors, we had come out for the PLI. PLI is there in the automobile, pharmaceutical, IT, hardware including the laptops, mobile phones, telecom, white goods, many parts are there. What happens into the PLI? The manufacturing companies, they will be paid an incentive if they are doing some extra production. They will be paid an incentive. Incentive 2 to 4% will be paid if some additional manufacturing they are going. So the production linked incentive scheme we had come out with. Now guys, when we talk about the atmanirbharta into the pharmaceuticals, what is the issue is that we have actually a lot of dependence onto the active pharmaceutical ingredients. Fine, APIs, we have a lot of dependence onto that. A lot of APIs are coming from China. Clear? Drug intermediates, okay, the key starting materials. Now these are the basic raw material, these are the basic fodder for the medicine. Now these components we don't have the capability to make it in-house. Fine, we are dependent onto the countries such as China. So it has been said that if we want to build the reliance into the Indian vaccine manufacture or Indian medicine manufacturers or the pharmaceutical giants, we need to focus onto this particular component. When we see that China's pharmas, they are cheaper by 35 to 40%, but we are just providing 2 to 4% of the incentive. So therefore never we will be able to compete with the China. Even the PLI will not help us to compete with the China, because the margin of 35 to 40% that is there. Now guys, it has been provided that we need to provide much more than the incentives. The technology plays a very important role in the pharma world. Is it clear? The Chinese, they have invested a lot of into the technology, and the cheap technologies have been provided to the pharmaceutical giants. In India, the PLI scheme, it does not have any technology component. So providing the cheap and scalable technology, it is not there. This should have been there. Clear? After that guys, the next thing that we talk about is that, see, now under the PLI, what we are incentivizing? We are incentivizing the new manufacturing facilities. You develop a new plant, and then we will incentivize you. But at the same time, in India, the problem is that the already existing firms, they have idle capacities that are there. Let's say that one company had the capacity of making 5,000 tablets, they are making just 2,000. 3,000 idle capacity is there. So rather than focusing or incentivizing the new manufacturing facilities, we should have focused that why the idle capacities are there. First, it should have been scaled up. Then the next thing that has been there is that basically the pharmaceutical industry, it needs to be in tandem with the industrial policy, science and technology policy, all needs to be synchronized. But what happened, the science and technology policy, the industrial policy and the the PLI scheme, they are now not properly synchronized. Then guys, the next very big problem that is there into the pharma, it is that, see, three-fourth of the pharmaceuticals, they are carried by the MSMEs. Is it clear? Basically the MSMEs are doing it. But what happened, the this PLI scheme that had been there, it focus only onto the large firms. So MSMEs, they are not being specifically targeted, they are not being given the incentive. Now when we talk about the large private sector firms, they have been interested into the formulations, they are coming with the new R&D, new formulations, they are not focused onto the APIs or the basic pharmaceutical medicines. MSMEs are doing it, so PLI should focus on MSMEs. After that, the next thing that has been provided, that the API, as I told you, these are the raw materials for the medicine, they are very important, and for that particular thing, the public sector enterprises should be given a specific task that they have to develop the APIs. Is it clear? So this is something that is being provided here. Clear? So that is all guys about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, now this article, majoritarianism is wearing the wheel of debate. See, this particular article, it is saying that how the right wing groups, okay, how the Hindu right wing groups, they are holding the hostage of the rights of the Muslim women. So guys, this particular article has been little bit politicized. This article has been little bit politicized. However, all the issues with respect to this particular issue of dressing, right to religion, right to profess, propagate religion, I had taken in the 5th of the February newspaper analysis on the Saturday at this particular timestamp, 10 minute 42 seconds. Rather than going into this particular article, I will ask you to just see this particular article. If you have not seen 5th February 10 minute 42 second, however, if you have seen this particular article already, please don't go in any of such articles which will be coming every day. Is it clear? Now for next few days, every day this article will be coming, but essentially they will be repeating the same thing. There are just 3-4 judgments already, I had covered it here. Fine, beyond that please don't go. Now moving to the next article. Now this particular article, it says universalise the maternity benefit scheme, says activist. Now this year, few days back, also I have taken one editorial in this line. 5 years of the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana has been over, has been completed. So we'll see the critical analysis where this article will be important in GS paper number 2, issues related to the social justice and the developmental issues. Social justice and developmental issue, this particular article will be important. Now, first of all, let's see that the background. First of all, let's see the background. So the background goes like this. We have one of a scheme, that is the Pradhan Mantri. We have a scheme, that is the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. Now this scheme was launched in 2017, and this scheme provides 5,000 rupees of benefit to the mother for the first childbirth. Fine, if a first childbirth is being carried into the institutional delivery, if there are proper antenatal care that was taken, registration of the birth was done, then 5,000 rupees will be provided. Why this 5,000 rupees is provided? So to compensate for the loss of wage that will happen. Now from this particular 5,000 rupees, mother can also improve the nutritional well-being. Why? Because there are the 3 installment in which this particular money will be given. First installment will be paid at the registration of pregnancy, then the second installment will be paid after the antenatal care has been taken, and third will be done after the delivery. So the regular installments have been made, and by this thing, nutritional well-being, the health of the mother is being preserved. Clear? So I already told you that the amount it is based into the 3 installments, and the conditions already I have told you. Apart from this guys, there is one more scheme also that is there, that is the Janani Suraksha Yojana. Now Janani Suraksha Yojana, here 1,000 rupees support is given for the institutional birth. In total the women gets 6,000 rupees, 1,000 under the Janani Suraksha Yojana and 5,000 under the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. 6,000 rupees women are getting. Now understand one caveat that is there. This Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana, 5,000 rupees benefit that is being given, it is given only for the first live birth. It is given only for the first live birth. After the one birth, money will not be given. However, this Janani Suraksha Yojana, 1,000 rupees that is given, they are given after one birth also. This is one thing. Now guys, what had happened? The government is coming out with the revamped Pradhan Mantri Matra Vandana Yojana. Now, under this revamped Pradhan Mantri Matra Vandana Yojana, they are saying that we will provide the same 5,000 rupees additional benefit, and along with the JSY, it will become 6,000. So they said that this benefit will provide for the second child also, but only if the second child is girl. This is the second child is girl. They say that by this particular thing, pre-birth sex selection and the female feticide etc will go down. So what has happened, Pradhan Mantri Matra Vandana Yojana, originally for one child, is being extended to the second child if the second child is girl. This is something which has been proposed. Now guys, some people had appreciated it. Yes, very good, the girl child will now be favored. This is something, but there are the criticisms also that has come for this particular scheme. What are the criticism? Guys, the criticism is this. I need to tell you some of thing. We have the National Food Security Act that was passed in 2013. Under the National Food Security Act, it is provided that the subsidized food grain will be provided at the rate of 3 rupees, 2 rupees, 1 rupees. In total, there were the 66% population of the India that was to be covered. National Food Security Act. In the National Food Security Act, there was one provision that was there. What provision was there? This provision provided that every pregnant and lactating mother is to be provided the benefit up to 6,000 rupees. Every pregnant and lactating mother. Now what has happened, you already were giving the benefit to the first child. That was the violation of the NFSA. Now what has happened, you are saying that okay, we will provide the money to for the second child also if it is a girl. It is also the violation of the National Food Security Act, because it provides every pregnant women and lactating mother is to be provided the money. Why only two, and only the two second one if the case that is a girl? So there is some serious reforms and systemic reforms that are needed. Clear? So that is all guys about this particular article, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Now guys, we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. And guys, yes, I am planning to have a Q&A also. Okay, if you want it, please do tell me whether we should hold it or not. I don't want it to just be a kind of a unnecessary exercise. Only if it will serve some purposes, you have some questions, then please tell me should we hold it or not. Okay sir, please cover Sunday news analysis also. Okay Manoj, I will answer this in Q&A that what is why or what is the case there.